Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are taking a look at another of these very cool 2020 Mojo Fun figures, and this time it is their very striking looking brand new Baryonyx. Overall, it's a very interesting looking model. I really actually do quite like it a lot. But the thing I think I like the most about it is the incredibly nice looking paint scheme. The greens and that very cool black design, the lines and squiggles that run down the body, along with that red type coloration on the head, looks so awesome. And then in comparison with that light underbelly, it looks amazing in person. I really am a big fan of the color scheme of this figure, and they've included some darker greens in certain areas and lighter greens and everything, giving it a very realistic appearance as far as skin tone goes. But there are a few small issues, actually probably only one that I can really think of right now until I get a closer look. But we'll go ahead and get a closer look and we'll talk about them then. So looking up here at the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt is really quite nicely done. Beautiful detailing up here on the top of the head, really nice skin texture for sure, and you can see that trademark Baryonyx kind of bump up there on the top of the head looks to be sculpted really quite nicely. When you come down into the face, you can again see that the skin texture down here in the face is really quite nice as well. The detail all around the eye there looks to be done really quite nicely, and I really love the coloration here of the head. You can see it's certain areas it's a bit of a darker green, and then it transitions to this very nice lighter green, and then you can see it transition down here from this green to this light coloration here on the lower jaw. It looks really nice. You see the same sort of thing over here. Really beautiful paint application. The eye is painted with a white coloration, and for the most part has a little bit of sloppiness, but nothing too bad. It doesn't look that bad. There is one area of the face, though, actually kind of two, that I'm not a huge fan of, and that is the fact that if you look here in the upper jaw, they kind of missed the hook in the jaw that Baryonyx is kind of known for, which is strange because I believe they had it on their release from about 2 years ago where they released the much larger Baryonyx. I believe that one did have the hook of the jaw, but this one for some reason doesn't. It almost looks like it was going to. You can kind of see it indent there a little bit, and maybe that's their attempt at it. For the most part, that hooked jaw isn't really present, and that is probably the biggest downside, I think, to the entire figure. So it's not that big of a downside, but it's definitely something that is worth mentioning. It's also a little bit of a downside is the fact that the jaw is really loose, so if you poke it, it kind of falls open. But at the same time, you can see that it will work, and it will definitely stay in different positions, but it's actually quite loose, so it does tend to fall open quite often. No, it didn't do it that time. But at the same time, it does move really smoothly. You can see that there's no issues with moving it at all, and you can, even with it being a little bit loose, you can close the mouth, and it does stay closed quite nicely. You can open it nice and wide, and it doesn't flop back up into the mouth. But it's just certain times when I have it in a position like this, see, it falls down. But it's only a very minor gripe. Definitely nothing to be concerned with, because I really am a huge fan of this figure. As we start to move down the neck, you can see quite a bit of creasing in the skin, some skin folding and skin bunching up here coming from the neck. Really nice detailing down here on the underside of the throat, a little bit of hanging skin there as well. Really nice detailing here in the chest region of the Baryonyx. If we come up here, you can get a sense of the shoulder blade protruding from the skin there, and then as we come down into the arms, a sense of the musculature of the arms. Really nicely done as far as the hand sculpt, and you can see that trademark Baryonyx claw there is present. If we come back up into the body, look how beautiful the skin texture is all over the body. I really like the skin texture on this figure. You can kind of see some hanging skin, a little bit of skin folding there in the lower part of the stomach as well. And you can see sort of what I was talking about, how there's different variations of green. You can see a darker green in this area, but then it gets to a lighter green over here. I really love the paint application of this figure. I think they did such a good job making it extremely striking looking with this nice light green and then the darker black kind of lines all over it, but then including darker areas of greens and stuff in certain spots that really give it such a very realistic look as far as skin tone goes. Definitely a wonderful looking paint application on the part of Mojo Fun. As you get down here to the thigh, you can definitely pick up on some nice muscle tone, nice musculature here in the thigh and calf region. You can see the kneecap is present here in the front of the leg. Really nicely sculpted out foot there. Beautiful scoot-like appearance as we lead up the foot. Very nicely sculpted nails, and you can see again the transition between the greens down into that dark kind of a coloration for the foot is really smooth. Mojo Fun has just improved leaps and bounds on their paint applications over the past 2 years. Some nice wrinkling here in the rear of the leg as it connects to the tail, and then you can also see some beautiful skin texture on the underside of the tail, even though it's a bit bright here. Looking at my camera, it almost drowns out that detail, but it does look really, really nice. And then you can see as we move out the tail here, the very nice skin texture and these black squiggles and lines end right about here, and then it transitions to a darker green here for the tip of the tail. The tail is really nice and long, beautifully curved as well. Very natural looking curve. If we look at the opposing side, you can see some very nice detailing in the neck again, and those nice black squiggles that kind of run all over the place down the neck. And look at the smooth transition between the greens and that light color there for the underbelly and the neck region. So smooth, so realistic. I really love that. You can again get a sense of like the muscle tone here in the neck as well, and kind of that hanging skin right there. Really, really nice sculpt work for sure on the part of Mojo Fun. Beautiful shoulder blade there protruding from the skin. Here is the opposing arm. You can see some nice creases there in the joint of the elbow. Beautiful skin texture here in the stomach region. I did state on the opposing side how much I like that skin texture, and it shines through on both sides of the figure. Really, really nice looking. And kind of some skin folding right here in the stomach region, and you can see the skin kind of stretching a little bit off of the body as this leg is back further in comparison to the opposing leg. There's a nice muscle tone over here. The hip bone is slightly present there. Really nice calf muscles, beautiful creasing in the rear of the knee, and you can sort of make out the kneecap there a little bit. Beautifully sculpted feet here once again on this side. Really, really nice looking. The dew claw and everything is present. And then we come back up into the tail here. Really nice creases in the skin as we run out the length of the tail. And look at the very fine detailing of the skin texture. Really nice scale work all over, and beautiful creases as we run out the length of the tail. And then again, it transitions to that darker green out here on the tip of the tail. Absolutely fantastic looking as far as that goes, and the detail on the underside is also really well done. So I think that the Baryonyx is extremely striking looking, a really beautiful model to include in their 2020 range, and probably my favorite out of all of them when it comes to their paint application. But again, there's that slight downside with the hooked jaw, but if you can get past that, I really think it's a fantastic looking Baryonyx. As far as the size goes on our Baryonyx, from the head to the tail, we can't really curve it, or that would kind of be cheating. So you're looking at about 9.25 to 9.5 inches, somewhere in that range, or about 24 centimeters for a length. For a height, the highest point would be the tail, so about 4.25 inches or about 11 centimeters, somewhere in that range. And for the head, about 3 inches or 8 centimeters. This is actually much smaller than their previous Baryonyx offering, which unfortunately I don't have here to display with this figure because I have most of my stuff in storage, and my storage area is currently a disaster. So getting things out of there is pretty much an impossibility at this point in time. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex and Robert Muldoon showing his love for the Baryonyx, and you should have a good idea of how well this sizes up if you happen to have either of these figures. I think it's a really nicely sized Baryonyx. It's not too big, it's not too small. They pretty much hit the nail right on the head when it comes to the size of this figure. It is, like I said, significantly smaller than their last version, but the last version was really quite large. So this is a much more comfortable size, I would say, for a Baryonyx. So this 2020 Mojo Fun Baryonyx is definitely a really nice looking figure. Again, it's not the most scientifically accurate figure, that's for sure. If you're looking for complete scientific accuracy, you're not going to find it here with this Baryonyx, but if you're looking for a really beautiful looking Baryonyx figure, sculpted by Mojo Fun with a wonderful looking paint scheme, this is definitely your guy. It's also a really nice choice if you're looking for a Baryonyx that's really nicely sized. It's not overly large or anything. It's a beautiful sized Baryonyx, and again, the paint scheme is so striking to me. I really just love the greens on it, and then the way that that black plays off of the greens. It's such a flashy look, and then you've got that light white underbelly. It all plays off of each other so well, and it is extremely appealing to me. Easily my favorite paint scheme out of all of the 2020 Mojo Fun figures, and I think it just makes the figure's appeal factor jump up so much more just by the paint scheme alone. But even the sculpt is really nice. I kind of get the feeling that as far as the pose that it's in, that maybe it's leaning on like the side of a bank, a river bank or a pond or something, and looking down for a fish, and it's about to lunge in and grab it because it's kind of crouched down, and it's definitely not meant to imply that it is a quadrupedal animal or anything like that. It's definitely in a crouching position. You could tell by the positioning of the tail being up higher and everything like that. It's a beautiful display. If you could get like a fish in the mouth of the Baryonyx or something like that, it would be really cool to display it like that. I think that they did a good job overall on the choice of the positioning of the body, and also in general kind of a little dose of realism with the figure, because it would be more often than not hunting for fish similar to the Spinosaurus, and you see it crouched down like it is doing exactly that. So really nice choice as far as the pose on the figure. The very fine detailing is great. I'm a huge fan of the skin texture of the stomach region specifically, but I think they did a good job overall on sculpting out all the very fine details and everything of the figure. Beautiful paint application as far as the way they've applied it as well. It all looks very natural, really transitions back and forth between the colors in a very natural, very realistic way. So Mojo Fun did a great job on this Baryonyx for sure, even including a wonderful articulated jaw, which is a little loose, but for the most part works really quite well, regardless of its loose nature. But I still think Mojo Fun did a fantastic job on this Baryonyx. So if you want this figure, make sure you keep checking out everythingdinosaur.com or dejenkins.com, as they should be stocking them very soon. And once they do stock them, I highly recommend picking up this beautiful Baryonyx from Mojo Fun. So again, check those two websites, but before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.